Like there's coaches out there that can explain shit so well on the fitness and nutrition side. I can too, but I always talk about the benefits like of mentality wise that you get from it, of actually showing up consistently, tracking your food. Like how good do you feel when you're on point with your diet, your exercise, and all of this other stuff? It does yeah, it does good for the body, but really it does wonders for the mind. Like the body's a byproduct of just what you've created and constructed over time. Like if you show up consistently every single day, and if you hit your macros on point and your training on point and all this other stuff, then ultimately you will build that security and confidence that you were always looking for. Like it's always just the physical aspect that people say they show up for at first. Let's just say when I have a client, but ultimately it always equals out into being something with a mentality problem or confidence issue and all that stuff. It all stems from within. But once you really day by day just fix yourself externally, like your internal gets fixed just as well. And that's just what it is. But that's all done through, tracking the numbers, like you say, in like a database. Like I track mine in an app. I actually have an app that I have people tracking on. But all that stuff's so important. Like, people can just look at it and, they can measure out and just do, let's say, portion control and stuff like that without tracking. But tracking is really, if you want to get like really good results, and that's where it's at.
Damn.
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What about like enjoying life and enjoying a cookie every once in a while? Is that bad?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's why I say macros is good because so you can fit all that in the macros. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I have that stuff, but I just fit it in the macros. Carbs. Honestly, carbs is carbs. Where however you want to take it. So I mean, 200 grams of cookie carbs is the same thing as it's just the only thing is just the micronutrients. Just everything's different like that, really. But and at the end of the day, if you hit your numbers on point, I mean, I still feel confident within myself when I hit my numbers because I'm like, oh shit, at least I hit my numbers. Like even though I might have ate something bad, I still know that I hit my numbers. But I mean, yeah, that's just that's why, like I say, tracking is good because you can go all these places. You can take your macros anywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? So you can take them anywhere you go. That's why it's so important to know.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that over like a specific like diet, like keto or low?
Oh yeah,
carb or slow carb
100%, yeah. Because that's what people get in the mindset of that they have to have this like rigid carnivore or something like that diet. But I mean, just have a balanced amount of proteins, fats, and carbs, and I mean, you're gonna get the results you want. You don't really have to do all this. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Just simplify it. You just like body weight carbs, lean body mass protein, and fill in the rest with fats. Like probably like 40 grams, and then that's it. Like that's what I've done for everybody. It's gotten them results. There are some people that came to me though, and they're like, I can't have any carbs, like no carbs. I'm like, oh shit, okay, well, and I just work with that, and then they still get results. But yeah, some people are strict with that though. There's this lady, she was like an anesthesiologist. She was like, I know my body, so I can't have any carbs. So I was like, okay. So I just, like I said, I just like upped her proteins and gave her healthy fats and stuff like that, and then she dropped a couple pounds and built some muscle. So. Sometimes you gotta work with it, yeah.
It's a good point. What about like food sensitivity then? I was wondering if I should get that test where you can find out what you're sensitive to. Does that help at all, knowing what you're sensitive to?
Oh, bro, I'm not even sure. I never even heard about that. I never even heard about that in my life, bro. Food yeah. No, only thing similar to that, I guess it's like what people are used to, like what people. I mean, not used to. What people are allergic to. Like certain foods they're allergic to. I'm not sure about food sensitivity. Now, some people, if they do have problems with that food, like nuts, if they can't have any nuts because it gets something with women, I don't know. She explained to me, I completely forgot. But anyway, yeah, she can't have that. So just cancel out the nuts and anything like that. Usually they tell me though, because I would hate for them to find out or for me to find out. So I usually ask questions like that beforehand.
That's good. How did you learn all this stuff? Like, what made you? How did you input all that data in your brain? You didn't go to school for this.
No, I don't know, not at all. No, I just hired mentors. Like I hired the best people in the space. It was like Gary Vee and Mike Vaganti. They were not Gary Vee. Wait, he was Gary Vee's trainer. Jordan Syatt and Mike Vaganti.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He was Gary Vee's personal trainer and stuff. And I just hired them as mentors. Learned under them. Learned under people just did a bunch of research, and people could find the answers out there on the internet. But like you said a while ago, like some people would like to have a mentor to keep them accountable and hold them to their word, you know. And then that's why it's so important, the mentorship and everything, and that's why mine is important as well, because like I say, I put it into like a more mental aspect rather than just physical. But because I always feel like I said, I always feel like the body is just a byproduct of what you constructed over time. But yeah, man, just pushing that knowledge in my. This is the crazy thing, though. This is the crazy thing. So I was just boxing at first. Like I said, I was just helping people out with their problems. I never even knew you could really charge for this stuff. So within like a year and a half, I just consumed a bunch of knowledge at once, and I learned all this stuff just within like a year and a half. And then I got people massive results, you know. And it all comes down to that, like what results can you produce? Like I have no certificates, but I've gotten people massive results, you know, and I have it all over my website. I post it all over my Instagram and stuff like that, and got results for myself, you know. So it just comes down to that.
Mm-hmm. It's impressive that you're able to do all of this without the qualifications that most other people in the same level as you have. You know, you just like skipped the schools. You're like, I don't need that. I can do it by myself. I'll find my own way, and you did that. You know, step by step. Um, to go back a bit on something that you mentioned, which was the macros and the micros. So this is something I've heard a lot, and when it comes to working out and like from nutritionists. But to be honest, I have no idea what do they mean. Like, what are macros? What are micros? How do they fit into your workout regime?
Yeah, no, macros is just like I said, your proteins, fats, and carbs. And I mean, carbs give you fuel for your workout. Fats balance your hormones, and protein builds muscle. I mean, it's pretty much as simple as that. You know, I hate to overcomplicate it because it's really simple. And then the micronutrients is like the vitamins and the minerals and all that stuff in there. You see, like vitamin D and then the sodium. It's all the micronutrients in the foods, and that's what I was talking about. Like a cookie, of course, the nutrition balance is way off in that because the protein's low, the carbs are high, and all of that stuff. You know, sugar's high, but if you meet your carbs on a daily basis with that, then I mean, sure, you know, you can have some, but to get that mental clarity, you really want to fit it into your macros, something like potatoes and sweet potatoes and stuff like that. You know, it's like the complex carbs rather than the simple carbs. But that's why it's important to know your macros because you can fit it into that. And I mean, that's pretty much the basis of what it is. You know, like I said, I don't really go too much depth into explaining it, but I mean, yeah, the micronutrients, macronutrients. I used to forget what that was, but the micros, like I said, yeah, it's it's like but it's hard to forget it because I mean, if you really track it and learn it, like I said, you can take it anywhere. That's why I don't like giving meal plans specifically. Like, okay, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
eat exactly this and this and this. I mean, some people do
Mm-hmm.
that, some people like that, and I mean, sure, you know, we could do that, but normally for like the ideal client, I would just make them, and you can't really teach anybody macros, but you just
Mm-hmm.
explain it to them, and they track their macros, and then they learn over time pretty quick. Because like I said, it's pretty simple. I mean, you turn the label around on the box, and then you just look at, how much proteins, fats, and carbs does this have? It's pretty simple.
Yeah. So this is obviously a lot of information for your client to process and like
Right, right.
to take in and like learn it. So how do you get them to commit?
Because like I said, I always draw them in for the mentality aspect. So I'm like, no, this isn't gonna just change your body. It's gonna change your whole fucking life because you're gonna get your nutrition on point. You're gonna change your body. You're gonna change how you look at yourself in the mirror. And then ultimately, that's gonna change how you feel
Mm-hmm.
about yourself. And then your people's gonna respect you more. You're gonna respect you more. Nobody respects a person who fails to invest in themselves, who brings the lesser version of themselves possible. And that's why people like me only hold you to the best possible version in which you could be. Everything in which you thought you couldn't do, like I'm gonna make you fucking do it because you can push. Like I say all the time. I say this all the time. Like you can't push past your current capabilities if you never do something that you think you're not capable of. So most people think that they're not capable of the simple shit, which is just getting up every day and tracking their stuff, training, and all of this. This is why I preach the fitness aspect so much because, I mean, you can alleviate any negative mindset if you just stick to your diet plan consistently. And if you just hit the ground real quick and do some push ups or burpees, it may alleviate
Mm-hmm.
that stress, that future anxiety of a problem that may never even come into existence or a thought of something in the past, like past regression or something like that. And I'm like, these are the tools that I use to change my life all throughout the course of my 18 years of living. And like, this is the thing that's going to work for you too, you know?
For real, man. I mean, the thing for me I found out was working out gives you more energy than when you first came in. You ever feel that way, guys? Where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go work out, and you think that working out would make you tired because you're working out,
Yeah.
and you're getting your heart rate up and stuff, and you're sweating, but then afterwards, I always feel I get like a little high, honestly, off of working out, especially when it's a really good like workout. I'm like, damn, I feel good. I feel awake. I feel, you know, like
You
I'm
want to take
ready
over
to
the
do.
world.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Dude.
do more stuff.
Dude, 100%. But like that's what I say about it. It's like I was I I used to chase a high off of this external shit like the alcohol and pills and all this stuff, but now I'm chasing the high off of workout. And honestly, like I say, it's like it's better. It's a better feeling than any of that other shit, any narcotic or drug that you can possibly take. I took, and this has never felt any better. Any better than that. Like that natural high you get because there's no regret tied to it. You build up karmic debt from even the smallest
Mm.
things, like not just the biggest things, like
Hmm.
taking this, doing that, or getting arrested, or any of that shit. Like even the littlest things, disrespecting yourself, your subconscious takes note of it. So every time you do miss that meal or workout, you feel that less value of yourself. You feel less confident and less secure because the more work you put forth, the more worth is provided. It's as simple as that. The more work you put forth into yourself on a daily basis, the more worthy, confident, and secure you'll feel. So that's just what it is. And that's why I have to get that natural high from doing my burpees and everything like that. Like if any problem arises, I'm just like, oh fuck that, I just do some burpees. It doesn't work all the time, but most of the times, if you do that, followed up by self talk and all of this other stuff, then it will work. If your habits are aligned, and if you do that, oh yeah, for sure.
I love how you just mentioned like if any problem arises, fuck it, I'm just doing burpees. That's it. Solves
Dude,
my
in the
Get
problem.
in a
store,
car
in the
crash.
store.
Step outside. Do
Bruh,
push-ups.
dude, hell yeah, dude. I do that in
John, you
class.
mentioned
Yeah.
John, you mentioned karmic debt. Could you explain a bit more what do you understand about it?
Yeah, it's like every time you disrespect. So if your conscience knows, like if you're exposed to something of a higher truth. So let's just say that not tracking your macros fully is. I'll take it back to macros. So let's just say that not tracking your macros fully is like a form of disrespecting yourself. And if you choose to do it once you were already exposed to it, that it is a form of disrespect, then that karmic debt is going to build up over time each time you do it because you're disrespecting yourself and you're choosing to do that to yourself. And like I said, your subconscious takes note. So if you keep doing that over and over and over again, every time when I was disrespecting myself with the drink and the drugs and all this stuff, and disrespecting my family and all of this, getting in trouble with the law, getting arrested, that karmic debt kept building up over time. I didn't know anything about karmic debt, but eventually that landed me in a place where I didn't want to be. Because it kept building up. It's like in school. Like it's something simple as that. In school, if you keep doing like this wrong, it builds up, and then you get expelled. Something bad will happen in your life, and that's
Yeah.
why I tell people you have to change now. So that karmic debt can go away, and you can just pay it off by actually doing what's right in life. Because if you keep down this path of disrespecting yourself, then it's not going to end up good. Like keep ignoring your conscience because you're here, but you can be here, like at a way more elevated state, at a way more higher frequency. If you just choose to follow down the daily disciplines and habits of creating the best self possible.
For
Yeah.
real, man.
No, I complete that is a very strong point.
Okay, so I want to ask you a bit about the culture of working out nowadays, because Right now, we have a really weird in the United States of Freedom. You're in Louisiana. I'm in Los Angeles. Besides in the UK, there are people who say, okay, we're in the body positivity movement. You can be any size you want, any shape you want, and that's beautiful.
No, bro.
What do they call it? Big and beautiful. And then
Damn.
you have people like Joe Rogan, right, who are catching popularity, and they're the complete opposite. They're like insane, workout frenzy, like get in insane shape, testosterone, all that jazz. And I don't know what to make of it, I've definitely heard people say that working out, or people who are like in your like body shape, they would say that, oh, they're maybe jocks, or douchebags,
Yeah.
or something like that. Sorry,
Yeah, a lot
no
of people
offense. I don't mean to.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to, call offense, but I'm just calling it out. I'm calling out the culture, man. I'm here to expose the culture.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's expose it together.
No, exactly, dude. A lot of people say that, but it's just a form of insecurity within themselves. Because honestly, I mean, if you look in the mirror and if you're not proud of what the fuck is looking back, I can never accept something less of myself, of everything in which I could be. I mean, would you lie to yourself though? Like, if you really look in the mirror and if you really don't like anything about you, if you really don't like what you see in the mirror, and if you fail to change it, that's just a form of disrespect and selfishness. Karmic debt,
Yeah.
yet again, And I mean, honestly, if you're a man, like if you're a dude with tits, right? I mean, that's the biggest form of disrespect ever, because you can't come home like I say. I mean, now you're possessing forms of like a whole nother gender, dude. Like, that's not what a man should be. A man, like, it moves and everything. They're physically fit. What dude does not want to wake up? What dude wants to wake up more broke, fat, and less disciplined? Every dude wants to wake up more jacked, more ripped, more rich. All of this stuff. So I mean, I do, at least. So I'm gonna strive every day to bring the best possible version of me to everybody else. But I mean, this is what I talk about, tying a greater purpose to your goals. Like, I do fitness because, not just because of the bicep vein and all of this stuff. I do it get up to feel better, but I also do it to bring the best version of me to my future wife and kids. I'm constructing the best version of myself so my kid can look at me like a fucking superhero. So my wife looks at me, my chick looks at me like with my shirt off, all jacked, ripped, tan, veins popping everywhere. I mean, that's just what it is. And I always tell people that, like, people really want to change their physique. I mean, because they're feeling like shit about themselves. They're insecure and all of this stuff. Like, okay, if you're so confident within yourself, take your fucking shirt off then. Exactly. Then they don't. But and it's the hard truth, but it's love. You're not gonna lie to somebody you love. So you tell them what they need to change so they can change it, because they got there from compassion, from compassionate, all this shit. This desirable, pleasurable stuff. So the moment you give them that compression, something they're not used to, it's good, because why would you give them something that destroyed them in the first place? It's just not good. And I mean, that's what I talk about. I never understood how people could really be in love with themselves, physically, if they're choosing, like, if they really don't like something about themselves and they're choosing to stay at that level. I mean, I never understood that. So I always call people up to, I don't just go around on the street criticizing people, like, just yelling at them because they're fat or something, or skinny. I'm just like if they're really looking for criticism, and if they're really wanting to change, but they're failing to, then I mean, you have to give it to them, because that's what they need.
For real, man. I like that. I think
100%.
it's all about like optimizing. You are who you are. You just want to tweak the things to get better and better and better. And what are you doing if you're not pushing yourself to get better?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the idle mind's the devil's playground. So if you're not forward progressing towards something in the future, then you're past regressing. Like, you're leveling down, you're downgrading, because, like I said, you're worried about some future anxiety that may happen, like I said earlier, or some past regression, something that happened in the past. But if you always stay forward progressing in the moment, you'll always stay in flow state. It's like that workflow you get, and like conversations like this keep you in the present moment. And like I said, you can't really truly be in the present moment if you're not proud of who you are. If you're not proud of who you presently are, your presence. But I'm proud of my presence, because I mean, I'm a good dude. I follow what I set out for myself on a daily basis, and I'm jacked. So I'm always going to enjoy the moments because I enjoy myself. And then that goes back to that, you know. I mean, if you look in the mirror and if you're not enjoying yourself, then you're not going to enjoy the moments out there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why it's so good
Yeah.
to continuously work towards something. You know, no matter what that is, just always progressing in life so you don't pass regress or think of some negative shit or create those negative scenarios in your mind from being idle and bored.
Damn.
So, could you share with us some of the negative thoughts that maybe you thought of?
Oh, dude, I want to take people's head off when I don't get up on my wake up time. Like, fuck, I'm so angry whenever, and then all of this stuff when I get, when I, in the morning when I wake up, I'm negative. I'm so negative when I wake up in the morning. My God, I didn't get enough
Yeah.
sleep. I didn't do this. Like, golly, why is this person talking to me? I'm going to go to the gym and everybody's going to start fucking talking to me and I don't want to talk to them. But then I get in that I do my morning process. You know, I read and reflect. I think of the person that I want to be and don't want to be. And then I do some ab workout or something. And then I love everybody else and I love the world because I'm putting forth the work in myself, bettering myself, and I'm loving myself. All it is I'm raising my frequency level. So, I mean, you know, when you wake up, nobody, I don't, I fail to believe that everybody's at this high frequency when they first wake up in the morning. I mean, frequency is like you don't see any negative side of that problem. You only see the positive sides of life because, I mean, like I said, you're in flow state. That's another form of, like I said, frequency, and you're just vibing high, you know, and I do that
Yeah.
after my morning process. So, I mean, yeah, I wake up negative as fuck until I do my morning process and then I'm positive. Then I can go out into the world and give what I'm receiving internally, which is positivity, and that's what all we have to do in life. But yeah, if I don't do any of that, then it's negative, super negative.
For real. The baseline is negative, and then you gotta work on it to be positive.
Yeah,
Man, that's why people seek out all these things, man. People seek out all the bad stuff in life, you know? Like the alcohol demon, right? Let's talk about the alcohol demon. What's your take on the consumption of alcohol, right? It's legal, you know, so people do it, but is it really good for you?
No, I mean I don't bash people that drink alcohol or anything, but I don't because like I said, the last two times I tried to drink alcohol, I tried to like in my life, so I cannot drink alcohol because I would get all these negative thoughts, like anything, you know, just it'd be so negative. And I
Oh,
mean,
wow. That's
all it
insane.
is, yeah, all it is if you're dealing with an internal problem and if you seek externally for a solution like alcohol, the problem will keep arriving because you're escaping it at that moment. But if you truly sit deep in the pain like I do every single day, and I figure out what's wrong. You know, you have to seek deep in the pain, and you have to feel what you're feeling, and you have to reflect on it because that's how you get better. You got to create an action and goal plan to conquer what you're feeling negative inside. You can't just keep running away from it, you know. And the gym can be a vice sometimes. The gym can be running away from your problems if you're not actively looking for a solution to solve it, you know. So,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest thing in life. Like people fail to find the solution because they're always running away from the problem. So do the alcohol and vices. And I used to do that all the time. I used to do that all the fucking time. I used to do that. Used to think that would be working. I would fill my void in loneliness with something that caused more void and loneliness. You know, like that quote goes, like losing happiness in the same place you lose it. You can't do that. You have to seek
Yeah.
and sit in the pain and isolation within yourself internally and really find out what's wrong and where you went wrong. And that's why having such a structured process and system, and the one in which I teach, is so good because you know where you went wrong because you know that you have to do this, that, and if you don't do any of this, then you go negative. But if you do all of it, then you will stay positive no matter what's happening. Like I always say, if you create that person internally, the most utmost positive individual internally through pursuing those daily habits that align you to a more positive state of mind, then no matter what's happening externally out into the world, you'll always be a peace of mind because you've created this person internally that can weather anything. So that's why, and that's what
Yeah.
this shit all stems from physically training and tracking your nutrition. Like it all stems from that. But yeah, the alcohol, and even when people say they just do it like socially and stuff, I mean, I'll never do that because I hold such high standards for myself. Plus, if my daughter sees me drinking or something in the future, maybe one of my kids see me drinking and they drink, and then they're they're around a bunch of weird ass dudes, and I don't know, anything could happen. So I'll never drink, but like I said, I don't just go around criticizing people for it.
Yeah. John, do you mind if I share a personal story with you?
Yeah, bro, go
Um,
for it.
so I had a friend a few years back who tried to end their life as well, and he was like very in a rough spot mentally, and he felt very lonely, and he was also living alone at the same time, and he was having a bad relationship with his parents. So eventually, he had to be checked into a psych ward, and he had to stay there for 6 to 8 months, and it was very tough, seeing him in that place. But eventually, once he got out, I took him in. He lived with me for a couple of months, and things started to change for him because like I was just like always being positive around him and being around also my family members. He was also seeing how like positive they were, so it kind of like changed his outlook. And I even showed him. So I have like in my old house when I was back in Lebanon, I would go sit on my balcony and call it like my temple of Zen. So like
Hmm.
because it has a very nice view, and we're also like living in the mountains, so it was very chill and relaxing. So I'd sit him with me, and we'd just sit there and talk. And it was very nice to see like the way his will to live completely changed after exiting the psych ward and removing all these thoughts from his head. So and now he's actually now starting his own business, and he's making money, he's enjoying life, and it's good to see that he also has his own support group now, and he's able to move on. So I kind of also wanted to see if you have that support group now.
Oh yeah, bro, I do 100%. Like that's what I've created over time is this group of men and women that hold you accountable to your best self. That's why I preach the mentality part so much because it goes way deeper. Like I do a lot of outreach a day because it feels like you're changing somebody's life. Like I got a call from this, I think he's 50 something years old, and he called me. I did a podcast with him. He hosted me on a podcast, and he was telling me about how he was having these suicidal thoughts and stuff. And he checked himself into a psych ward, and he said, "Oh, I tried to call a therapist and stuff, but they said they were only available on Tuesday." And I was like, "Bro, what the fuck is that, dude? You could call me 2 in the morning, and I'll answer the phone." And then we kept talking, and then I was basically just telling him how you have this simple ass problem that you've magnified over time, especially as a man. And he's a person that has no family or anything like that, so that's why something like
Yeah,
this is so important. I don't believe in family like it's just blood. So if you get around people, elevated individuals who have a mindset, the one in which you wish to possess, then you'll elevate with them. Just as that guy did with you and your family. And basically he called me, and then that's what happened. We talked, and and mind you, this guy's like 50 something and I'm 18. Like I said, I don't believe in age and numbers. I believe in age and wisdom, not numbers. So after we talked, he was like, "Dude, if anything wrong goes on, like you're the first person I call." And then he texted me this huge ass paragraph and everything about how I completely humbled him and changed his perspective in life and all of this stuff. Like, and now how he has like 2 jobs now. He's working. He has his apartment, and he's doing good for himself, which is good. You know, and and I had the exact same experience. I got checked into a psych unit and all this stuff, and that's where I did most of my reflection and everything because I was, isolated at that time. So I really saw the pain I was causing to everybody else. And then
yeah,
this is why I preached the program, going back to what you said, because they wanted to prescribe me to, they prescribed me to therapists and put me on meds and all this stuff, wanted me to take me to rehab and all this. But I was like, no, I don't need any of that. I didn't really listen to them or anything like that. So there was
yeah.
like this thing that happened with like the last time I used, I don't know, we stole some alcohol and drank and all that stuff. And then it was like on
Okay,
a North Carolina trip, me and my friend, and we came back, and that was another night I tried to take my life. But then we came back And then I'm telling you this, so I was at the lowest point of my downfall, and now I'm here. So yeah, we came back, and then I saw
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pain I was causing to everybody else, and I was like, oh shit, this is really having more an effect on them than it is me myself. So I was realizing that I
of
was being
course.
selfish. I was realizing that I was being selfish as fuck, and the hardest thing for me to do was to give my dad a hug and tell him I'm sorry. That was like the hardest thing ever for me to do. So like I didn't, I don't, I can't, I didn't even remember the last time I did that. Last time I did it. So after I reflected and I saw the pain I was causing to them, that's what I did. I gave him a hug. I told him I was sorry, and we both broke down in tears and started crying and
Yeah.
everything. But I mean, that's just what it is. Like, if you have, main point is if you have a support group and everything that holds you accountable, and every time you're going negative, like, to just fucking slap you and say that, dude, just keep winning in life. Like, actually, like I said, forward progress towards something in the future, better yourself mentally, physically, so you're not dealing with or you're not dealt with this past depression bullshit that you call anxiety or
Hmm.
depression or anything like that. Like, I don't even participate in any of that stuff because I keep winning in life, keep elevating. I don't exist in my own want in the bounds of what my wants and needs. I exist
Yeah.
within the wants and needs of others, and ultimately that helps me in return. If you outwardly give what you want to inwardly receive, then you will receive positivity if you give it out. If you help somebody else out
Hmm.
with their problem,
Of course. And it really does depend on the energy that you give out. Uh,
it
and
does.
when you mentioned that the hardest thing for you to do was to hug someone and someone that was dear to you and to say sorry, you were basically asking for forgiveness. Like,
Yes.
and the act of asking for forgiveness is a truly vulnerable position to be in. How did that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel extremely good because that's the thing. Like, on the frequency chart, it has acceptance as one of the highest forms of like positivity you could feel. So if
Yeah,
you truly accept that you are like a piece of shit and you're being selfish and you're feeling like this type of way because of this happened, and if you accept it and if you take accountability for it, which we should all do, but that's what people have most problems with is taking accountability for their own actions. That's why it's
yeah.
most needed to be done because once you do that, then you get this enlightened feeling that you never thought was possible because you did something that was hardest for you. Nobody wants to do it, which is why it's most needed to be done. So the moment you accept what you've done and you blame it on yourself and you get out of that victimized mindset, then you will get substantial amounts of clarity back in return. And that's what I did. That's all I did. I just accepted what I've done finally for once instead of ignoring my conscience over time, because when you ignore your conscience, it just magnifies. Once you say
Yeah.
that no, I am like something is wrong with me that nobody else is dealing with, or some shit like that, and then once you get in that mindset, then it just keeps multiplying and magnifying. So if you accept it, and if you look what others are dealing with, like somebody just lost their kid in my school like 2 days ago. So I'm not worried about any
Oh God.
little problem that I'm dealing with because that's huge for a parent to deal with that. So I'm not
Yeah,
gonna I'm not
100%,
gonna deal
man.
with that. Yeah.
Wow. So also you said you were checked into the psych ward. Did they teach you like the 12-step rule or the 12 steps thing, or is that doesn't happen in the psych ward?
Well, they did a lot of like meditative stuff, like giving you sheets and shit like that. But the craziest thing, they never really taught anybody physical activity. I mean, now
Hmm.
with my processing system that I
Yeah.
use to elevate everybody else, I mean, I teach them these daily disciplines to wake up early, be consistent, hold your word to yourself, get active. Every time you're feeling negative, drop down and do some burpees or something, or anything like that they do. And then that, like, telling you to do them burpees, bro, they really
They
help because
suck,
it gets
dude.
your they dig, dude.
They do.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, they get your blood oxidation level
For
moving,
sure.
your blood flowing, and all of that stuff, because you
Hmm.
can't think your way into doing something positive. You have to actively move into positive action, which then
Yeah.
equals out to positive thinking, so if
I'm
you get
imagining
moving,
you just being the most ripped guy in the psych ward, just like doing burpees every
dude.
day. And it's like,
I was shadow boxing in there because I was boxing at the time. I was competing and stuff. And I mean, there was dudes. There's different types of mental hospitals and stuff, but this one was like we was on, I think it was on A block, but on E block they had like 22 dudes in there, and I was like, oh shit, like we don't want to go in there because they just mean mug you, and I was like, you got to stay physically ready just in case if anything happened, because you cross them in the line, going on your way to the lunchroom
Yeah.
or whatever, and then they mean mug you and like what's gonna happen. So I don't know, you just always have the need to feel it to get physically ready, for anything
Yeah.
that would happen. But yeah,
My friend, when he was in the psych ward, he met some very interesting people that lived with him, and some of them were like really funny. It was just weird, odd types, but it's just
yeah.
like one of them was a schizophrenic that would just always have funny stories to share. I don't know if you encountered any funny people as well in the psych wards. I
Dude,
mean,
dude, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's really weird people, but there's also fun. Like we're all meditating, and then I open my eyes, and then I see somebody look at me, and you just start bust out laughing, and then we all have our eyes closed. We all have our eyes closed, and then we just hear somebody punch somebody, and then the girl's like, the voices told me to do it, and they're like, what the fuck, Because honestly, when you go in there, there's just a lot of depressed people. I mean, they're not really like
yeah,
crazy in that type of psych unit, but I mean, there might be your few. There's some people having seizures. It's not funny, but like I don't know, she was just staring at the wall and shit, and I was like, what's going on? And like she would not respond to anything. I never seen somebody like if that's a seizure. My mom's a nurse. She told me that's what it was, but I mean, I don't know. And then we all had to go in our rooms, and I'm like, oh, okay, So there's a few weird things. Some girl got pregnant or something. There's some drug deals happening,
Oh wow.
But
oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah.
Psych ward, man, that kid.
Things go
Bro.
down in the
Yeah.
psych ward.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
um, it's so wild to me that I miss being a kid. I miss being super young and a teenager, and I feel like that was a great time. And I feel like those were the times where I had no responsibilities, just living life,
Mm.
hanging out, just worrying about like dumb stuff, you know what I mean? Having a good time. Now, I'm older, I have all these responsibilities and stuff, and now life is kind of like catching up on me, and I have to, you know, do more. And I kind of wish, you know, I could go back to being a teenager in school. But it's so crazy that I feel like a lot of kids nowadays are super sad, depressed, anxious, you know, going through some shit, man. And it's like, I don't understand it, going into gangs, doing crime, doing drugs, right? I feel like when you're a kid, you're supposed to be so like innocent and shit, So how does it,
yeah.
what's happening? Like what's gone on with
Dude, it's
all
just like
these?
massive. Yeah, it's just massive validation issues. Like That's what stemmed from mine in the first place. When I got arrested for these felonies and stuff, was because of that. It's because of the validation issue. I hung around people that were going down the wrong path. It was like the biggest known drug dealer in the city at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and not mine, not Simsport, but Marksville. And then started hanging around his little brother, and then started smoking weed. That's where it started from. That's where it stemmed from. Then we started trying to get doing stuff to get money for that, and then it all just ended up and just a whole huge just fuck up. But it just stems from like not really validating themselves with what they do, so they feel insecure with themselves, so they try to seek it outwardly for other people. And it's crazy because some men actually still do that. Like some men still go out drinking and participating in stuff that's completely disrespectful to their families and not aligned with the person they want to be mentally or physically. But I mean, if you look around, I'm still in high school. 18.
Mm-hmm.
My habits are aligned, with the person I want to become in the future. So, I mean, like I said, it's just that perspective. This wisdom is applicable to anybody out there at any age, 18, 30, 40, 50. All it comes down to is your habits and actions align, like mine are. That's why I don't seek externally, outwardly for any validation towards the people that are doing that kind of stuff. I mean, and also because I've experienced that stuff already as a kid at a young age. At like 14, started getting into it, 13, 14, whatever, the gang violence and all this stuff. But it's just like void to me now. I have no interest in it. Other people do because they see it as cool and stuff like this, and everybody else is doing it, and they're not listening to their conscience. But it's hard to at a young age at that, I guess, because like I said, you're easily influenced But if you get exposed, this is the thing. It all comes down to like the law of exposure. If you get exposed to these universal truths and topics, and if you really know what's wrong for you to do, then your conscience calls you and it pulls you to everything in which you should be doing. Even though if you're doing what you shouldn't be doing, your conscience calls you to greater. And then that's what it did for me. So I knew that karmic debt built up over time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I didn't, and I failed to adhere to my conscience. And I was like, oh, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of all this. So that's when I took accountability, and it just built up. And I really listened to that little small voice inside that was calling me to greater rather than the 10 voices that were calling me to this bullshit. But dude, and it's just massive. I mean, it's just massive pleasure. Like we're so acceptable and we have it easy now. Especially people at my school, the ones I'm talking about. I mean, like back then, didn't we just have like hard, not me of course, but I'm talking about way back then, it was just like mainly just hard labor and
Mm-hmm.
communication, and that's what everybody needed. I mean, that's all it is, and that's what I do now. I just do like massive physical activity that puts me out of the mind and body aspect and puts me in a way higher frequency because now I'm connected like with the soul and everything. Like when the mind and body fail, the soul takes over. So, and I mean, that's just what it is. Like I said, manual labor, like hard labor and communication. So this right here is communication. Like I said, if you connect and communicate with people that want to be at the position of like the utmost highest position possible, or are at the highest position possible, a way more elevated mindset than yours, and I mean, you hang around people like that or on the same path as you, then you know, I mean, you connect with them, then you will be more susceptible to that higher calling in life. But if you hang around people that, of course, I mean, your vibe attracts your tribe. Who you hang around is ultimately who you're gonna come out to be. So that's one of the reasons. That's one of the ways where your external environment can change your internal state. Like I said, I'm always a huge believer of if you create that person internally, you can take that person anywhere externally onto the world, and you won't be affected. But in some cases, who you hang around externally will affect you internally. So,
Most definitely. I mean, I
Yeah.
truly believe in that. You're the person. You're the person that's the sum of the five closest people you surround yourself with, or something like that. Yeah,
mm,
and I truly
100%.
like. I'm totally aware of it. And for my friends too, like when they surround themselves with not great people, I'm like, dude, you gotta, because that's gonna rub off on your energy, and that's gonna rub off on my energy, and I don't want that.
mm, mm,
So we gotta figure something out here. You know what I mean? And it's like I want to be surrounding myself with guys like you, John. It's like, I need that courage. It's like I want to be
mm.
going to the store and doing, crunches, or being in class and doing,
Yeah.
burpees. It's like I don't even. I get a bit shy, man. I want to do it. You know what I mean? But it's like I just wish I was surrounded by, badass motherfuckers like yourself. You understand? Where I could just everyone's doing that, and I
Oh,
can feel
dude.
comfortable doing it.
Yeah, 100%. It's either a high frequency or low frequency. Like I'm in the gym, I'm in the store, like fucking yelling and cursing on my phone, recording everything around. People's looking at me. Like I post that shit all the time on my Instagram because, I mean, if you have if you have a message out there that really works, and I mean, you have to preach it. And then I'm a naturally introverted person. Like I mean, I think a lot of people are, but I mean, dude, I would like so introverted, and then every time when like I said, my habits are aligning, I'm at that high frequency state of mind. I'm so extroverted. Like I'm a very extroverted person. Like I talk to everybody, and yeah, I keep a certain amount of group of people close to me, but I talk to everybody, like every fucking body, because I mean I don't just completely close out the people that may need help, because everybody, they are, like I said, your people, they affect you. So that means if I'm hanging around lower level people, then they'll get affected by me. But I don't just hang around them because I choose to. Like sometimes I have to. So I'm just like, whatever. Like they're gonna learn something. So I mean, yeah, that's just what it is, dude. But and that's one of the biggest things for confidence. So if you're naturally introverted, do something extroverted. That's actually what I do on my programs too. Sometimes is when a person is, let's say, like shy or something, or introverted, then you just create habits, like I did, create habits and actions that are introverted, and then you just break out of that stage, because over time, you show up 1% better every fucking day, and then over time it adds up to something big at the end of the year. And that's what I've constructed. This person that can really go anywhere and walk into any room, no matter who's in there, and really feel confident, secure, and validated within himself because of what he's done and overcome. He overcame what's most hardest for him. So he has the utmost confidence, security, and validation because he's done that.
Yeah.
Man,
No, I completely agree with that because you really want to keep your energy up at all times, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And Ali, like you said, the sum of 5 people, the most closest 5 people around you really rubs off on you. So you want to keep those people to, you want them to be also high energy, just like you. And those have been amazing points laid in this podcast, guys. Like,
man, for real. This is what I'm talking about, man. We gotta elevate our energy, man. We gotta make it to the
Dude.
next level. All of us, dude. What are you doing if you're not going to the next level? For real.
Dude,
It's like
exactly, bro.
100%.
this is your one life that you're living, man. You're not gonna get it back. You're not gonna get this year back. Another year is passing. You're doing nothing. You're sitting on your couch watching the next episode of Euphoria, dude. What the heck, dude? Seriously, dude.
Hit him, bro.
And you're not getting anything, dude. For real, dude. What are these kids doing nowadays? You know what I mean? It's like, for real. It's like,
Yeah, they'll have that quote.
you
Sharks,
wanna
sharks wake up and
Go
start
for
biting
it.
shit, and then it's like, dude, you look like you've been biting a fucking cheeseburger for like 10 years straight, bro. Like, God, I'm like, jeez, dude. Like,
Okay, I want to ask you one thing, John. Is it when you get really swole? And this is a dumb question, but I want to know: do you impress more girls or guys
dude,
typically?
nah, the dudes. That's not even a thing. It's not even a question. It's both. Trust me, it's both. Because I mean, when I was like really skinny, there's a lot of girls that didn't look my way. But now it's like,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just so it's the competition's over with because obviously at my age, there's not a lot of jacked 18-year-olds. I mean, there's a lot of out of shape 18-year-olds and 16,
For real.
17, 20, whatever. So I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
once you get jacked, it's like there's way less. Did you know that there's more millionaires than there are people with six packs? This is like it's a statistic thing in the United States or something like that. I'm like, God damn,
Wow.
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
really?
So I'm like, holy shit, So if you get jacked, I mean, it's pretty much, if like I was on this cruise recently and I just walked around with my shirt off and everybody was going crazy, and I was like, that's all I have to do. I don't even have to go anywhere else. I just walk around the cruise jacked all the time. Like I was walking up and down the floors, literally like working on my phone just because I was so proud of like how jacked and what a good person I was. I wasn't drinking or anything. I mean, I'm like, oh shit, So I mean, I even pulled this cleaning lady's number. She was kind of cute, but then I found out she had.
Snap, man.
But then I found out she had like a husband and 2 kids. I'm like, bro, that's not like honest, like on her Instagram. But anyway, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Dude, that's the thing. It's like people really allow themselves to just let go and chase these pleasurable desires out there, which all equal out into something is not good. They're not happy with themselves. But when you really chase that purposeful feeling, then you look at your body and you do have the six pack, and you're like, oh shit, you weren't chasing the external result. You were really creating the person that can achieve the external result. And that's what I do every day. Just achieve that feeling, that internal grateful state, and then externally, all this other stuff is just the byproduct of it.
Okay. Speaking of six packs, John, I have one question about this. What is the best workout
Oh,
in
man.
your experience that gets you a six pack?
Reverse crunches. Dude, that's like the only one people need. I made a whole video about that. Like, I mainly make videos about mindset, but that was one I did make about fitness. It's like the reverse crunch is definitely because I'm gonna get a little nerdy, but like muscle is built and most muscle is tore on the eccentric movement. So like whenever you're like releasing down and getting that full
Mhm.
stretch, and then that's what a reverse crunch is. It's basically just like getting that full stretch at the bottom and releasing. So that's where most muscle is built. So why wouldn't like reverse crunches? And there's videos all over the internet that says that like reverse crunches are like the best one. But really, there's exercises you could do to bring them out more, but it's mainly done through the diet. To really just dropping the fat and getting more muscular, and then lean, and then
Yeah.
over time, yeah.
So Reverse crunches. I'm gonna
I like
gonna
it. We
start
gotta
adding
try
that
that
to
one
my-
now. Yeah, I need to get, dude. After he said that statistics about the abs and millionaire thing, I was like, dude, I
Yeah,
gotta
that was
stop
insane.
crunching Cheetos. I gotta do more
There.
reverse crunches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There we
Like,
go.
that's and that's the
Oh,
message. That's the message for real, dude. What do you think, Said?
Dude, it is.
I'm stuck on the reverse crunches, bro. I want that six pack.
But that's the thing though, you can't. A lot of people think that they can build muscle over fat, but like it's like no, like you got to get rid of the fat in order to
100%.
build the muscle, So yeah.
Ali, you got
Oh, yeah.
anything else to add?
Oh no, I was gonna have you sign out now, but yeah, life's good, brother.
Life is good. John, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's been very inspirational, the stories that you've been sharing, and also the workout info that you've been giving us. It's taught us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast just as much as we have, please subscribe, share, like, and you know how we sign out. Salute to cover the camera.
Oh shit.